Day 93, Kennedy Space Center. So the reason I was slowly making my way across Florida is because after seeing the Blue Origin launch, I was completely hooked. And I decided that I absolutely need to see the SpaceX launch that was supposed to take off from Cape Canaveral on the early morning of October 31st. And so I got myself tickets to the launch that also included 2 days admission to the Kennedy Space Center. And in the morning, as I was pulling into the entrance of the Space Center, there was a notice saying that the launch is being postponed for a couple of days. And I was incredibly disappointed, but I was already there and I figured I'm going to spend the day at the Space Center and then I'll decide what to do next. Now, if you're ever in the Orlando, Florida area, the Kennedy Space Center is an absolute must to visit, even if you are not that much into the issue of space exploration. It was a completely amazing experience, and at the entrance, you are met with something called the Rocket Garden, which has a whole bunch of rockets on exhibit that were used in many different missions. And then you continue on towards the Mars exhibit, where you get to see the real size models and replicas of the Mars rovers, and even one made from Legos. There is a beautiful memorial to the astronauts that were lost on different missions, unfortunately. And then there is this great exhibit dedicated to the Apollo mission to the moon, including the real command and control center. Then you walk out of there into the exhibit hall that houses the rocket that was used to launch the Apollo mission to the moon, with all the stages, the first, the second, the third, the command and control capsule itself. And it's amazing to walk around it and see how big this thing is and how many different components had to work together flawlessly in order for the mission to succeed. And you look at the exhaust opening of the rocket engines, and of course that's not the rocket that was used to launch the mission itself, but it was used in many different tests. And just to think of the forces and the temperatures and the fire and the power that was expelled through these engines. And then there is the recreation of the astronauts on the moon, planting the flag and playing golf. And another highlight of the visit is that after touching real dinosaur bones back in Utah, you can touch a real moon rock. Well, I'm touching the actual moon rock. So after touching real dinosaur bones, I'm now touching real moon rock. That is so awesome. There is also a beautiful moon tree garden, which is a whole bunch of trees that grew from seeds that were taken to the moon and back, and each tree is dedicated to crew of another Apollo mission. So the idea was really awesome. And then you take a shuttle bus past the huge NASA Vehicle Assembly Building, which is actually the biggest building in the world, and it can comfortably fit the Roman Colosseum on its roof and with some room to spare. And you get to the exhibit dedicated to the history of the shuttles, with Shuttle Atlantis on display. So you see a short movie and then you walk out into the hall where the real shuttle is suspended from the ceiling. And the thing is huge, and it's just awesome to walk around it and see the pock marks on the tile from many times where it left the atmosphere and re-entered the atmosphere. And there's a whole bunch of hands-on things that you can try I absolutely loved the recreation of the cockpit of the shuttle, where you can just come inside and see what it looks like from the inside, all the displays, all the dials, all the switches and handles, and like it's amazing to think how it will be controlled and flown in real life. And they also have a special exhibit dedicated to space toilets. So yeah, I got to sit on a space toilet, and it's not particularly comfortable even back on Earth. Also, the shuttle buses that would take the astronauts up to the ladders and elevators into the rockets are very cute. And it's just funny because they are so reminiscent of these big hippie buses, except they were used for something as scientific and official and serious as it gets. And then there are the spacesuits, and there is the moon rover. And there were a whole bunch of little kids, boys and girls, dressed up for the occasion to visit the Space Center. So again, I think it's an absolute must for everyone at least once. And if you are interested in space and in science, then it is an absolute must a whole bunch more times. And unfortunately, I decided not to stick around for the SpaceX launch because once it's been delayed, the delays can pile up and pile up. So all I had to satisfy myself with is just seeing a launch pad from the distance. But another thing I did that day was go to the Canaveral National Seashore, which is just a short drive away. And in addition to being a beautiful seashore, it is also the only federally recognized nudist beach. And they even have warnings to the effect, so you don't get caught off guard. So that was a perfect end to the perfect days. Just the waves and the sun and the wind and the sand on your skin with nothing in between.